She sent to me. We're live. Hey, welcome. I'd like to welcome everybody to our new podcast. We're just popping up tonight to have some short discussion about what Trenton makes and what Trenton needs, and what we want our current and future elected officials to look like and know, as well as what can we do to help us. And tonight, Brother Gene is on just for a second to tell us about a new initiative that's happening in Trenton Public Schools.
Oh, wow. So, that's really funny. I'm like, what did my sister wanted me to say? So there's a few things going on. One thing in particular is we are, there is I'm sure folks have heard of Parent University. So one of the things that we've been thinking about for a lot of years is the only way we're going to drive transformation. The key ingredient to driving transformation is parent engagement. And so we've been attempting over and over and over again to do some parent engagement. And there has been what we call, and I want to get it right, so just bear with me 1 second. There's a program. The next session is on May 14th, I believe. It's a Saturday, and it's a time where parents come in and they experience a workshop. And so these workshops help parents to understand parenting, how to engage with their children to support the work at the school district. And so it's been a long time coming, and I just had it up a few minutes ago looking at it, and there it is. Okay, here we go. And it is the Parent Connect Summit is the title of it. I did a post on Facebook. If you received the post, please share it. I'll actually send you the link again. I have a network of about 120 people that I emailed because we all know someone who is a parent of a child that attends Trenton Public Schools. We also know that quite often we have parents who didn't get the nurturing and support and example of good parenting, so they're winging it. Being a young parent myself, one time you just wing it until somebody comes and helps you give some guidance. So what the school district is attempting to do is to provide some guidance so that parents can effectively support their children in their education, because knowledge empowers. And it's not powerful until it empowers you to do those things that make you powerful, right? So that's one of the things. And then I got a secret. May 21st, we have an event going on at Trenton Central High School. It's called an Awakening. We Choose Life, and it's for middle school and high school students. And we're going to do some workshops. We're going to have some career pathing folks coming in and talking to folks. So that's another thing that's going to be going on. It's going to be really powerful, because we have to help our children make better choices, and they only know what they know. So until you have examples and opportunities for them and exposure to those things that make a difference, they will continue in this cycle, which is terrible. 30% poverty in the city requires us to think and do things differently, and there's hopelessness. And so what we want to do is give our young people some hope and some optimism.
And Gene, that is critical to the success of Trenton. Can you hear me well?
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Okay. We're not going to be on here long. I want to thank you and your wife for taking the time to come in and share about this. And I have shared it throughout Trenton and Mercer County, because I think the academy is important. And I think you're right. There is a sense of hopelessness. But here on this podcast, we are giving folks the opportunity to both submit questions and or come on live by simply tapping the link and being a part of the discussion. It could be, it's for generation X, Y, Z, and boomers. And we want to talk about what's going on with Trenton. This is not a platform where we intend to bash or fight. It is to hear there are folks who have wonderful ideas and they're really not being heard. We want to hear from those folks. Typically when there's a big issue such as now with TARS, the Trenton Animal Rescue, folks are all over the place, but you give them a platform to be able to share great ideas and discuss what they'd like to see. We heard the people had something to say. They have the mic. And that's what our pop-up Tuesdays are going to be about. Giving folks the mic to talk about where, how, and what we can do better to help Trenton. Because Trenton requires all of us. And I'm going to say this one thing, and then we're going to pop out of here. I'm going to let you go because our audience has not popped up. Trenton speaks so often to gun violence. And we've had this conversation before.
Yes, ma'am.
We could do a tremendous job, us, the residents, the businesses, the people who live here, if we would stop harboring drugs, guns, and criminals. That alone is a game changer. And it's real simple. We depend so often on the government to fix everything, but there's a responsibility that we have as well. And so I'm hoping that with enough engagement, enough advertisement, when we pop up again on Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday, it could be either of those 3 days, and we attempt to have this conversation, that we'll have more than 3 people joining us and being willing to talk a little bit. We have Italia here. I'm going to add Italia to the screen. I'm going to thank you. Hey, I'm going to thank you for coming in and sharing about the Academy. It's a great place to be. It's an important thing to talk about, and it offers hope. And so thank you. Have a good evening, Brother Gene, and enjoy your dinner.
Yeah, thank you. My wife, she's been pacing back and forth at the door, so I know who's the boss in my house.
She is the boss. She is the boss, and don't you forget it.
That's right. Take
Thank
care now.
you very much to both of you. Have a good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Bye now.
Bye-bye. Italia.
Yes.
Hey, you're live, and you're on tonight as a resident.
Okay.
And so, Brother Gene was talking about the academy that they are attempting to bring to the city and how important it is. But as a resident and as a parent, share with me, and the same offer you have here tonight, every other person in Trenton had the same offer. You chose to take advantage of it. We're going to be popping up on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesdays. We're going to be talking about Trenton. We're going to be talking about how to legitimately make money and where some of those opportunities are. And I think a while back you shared with me about wanting to bring folks more into contracting. If they weren't able to get state jobs, there are jobs available for them. So as a parent, as a mother, and a resident of this city, what are some of the things you're most concerned about? What do you think Trenton needs right now?
Well, I think we need a resurgence of our community to come back and invest in ourselves. That's what I think. I look at my kids, 2 of them are out of the house. And I just have my son who's 14, and he does not get to enjoy Trenton the way that I enjoy Trenton coming up because of everything that we have going on here.
Yeah.
I don't think that we lack programs. Of course, we can always have more programs to fit whatever need, but I think we have a sufficient amount. And I just think that parents need to take advantage of those programs for the kids that don't have anything to do. Let's put it like that. And I don't know. I heard you speak earlier about people not harboring the guns and the drugs and all of that stuff. And I think it goes hand in hand with poverty. So if I would like to see jobs come to the city of Trenton that maintains a living wage. I think that would help the community. I think the kids participating in the programs that are definitely here will help the community. And I just think us being more kind to one another will help the community. If we could just get back to speaking and saying hello, basic stuff.
Right.
If we see trash in front of the house, pick it up. Um,
How easy is that?
just simple stuff that we used to do. And we see the effects of not still doing some of those things that we grew up on. We see it having a negative impact on our community now. So I just think that we should get back to some of those things.
I think you're right. And I think that one of the bigger things that we have to look at as a parent and a taxpayer and a resident, of the city, I have multiple dwellings. Excuse me. But I think one of the things that's very important is that we get back to some of the stuff Tracy Syphax started with reentry.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first brought reentry to the city, the folks that I was working with at that time thought it was a recreation program. It is not. Reentry is real and it's very necessary. And you said something that I think is important as a parent, because how many children do you have?
I have 3.
You have 3 children. 2 of them were out and you have 1 still at home?
Yes.
And you said that the son does not get a chance to enjoy Trenton the way you did.
And not even in the way that I would say my oldest, who is more of a socialite than my middle child,
Mm-hmm.
Not even in a way that she did, because I think kids his age just don't, like, they really came up on the video games and social media. So he doesn't, so there's that part of it, the social part of it, and then there's the part of it just being somewhat dangerous for him as a 14-year-old boy who looks 17. Like, my son looks 17 years old. So he doesn't get to just, like, I don't even think he knows all of Trenton the way that I do, because he
Right.
can't, he cannot go outside of his home and just be and just walk and just do and go anywhere. So yeah, that's a concern for me, for my son.
That certainly makes a difference. And I just want to say again, to those who will pick this up later, just before the podcast, I will always post the link. We have 9 slots available for discussion in this podcast, and you have the opportunity. We heard you had something to say, bring it to the podcast. Let's talk about it. What's news with you? What's going on with you? Folks have so much to offer and so many great ideas, but they're hiding in the shadows because they want to, be just right. They want to make sure they're in the right place at the right time. This is the right place and the right time. This is a podcast and an opportunity for Trenton to talk about good things. For example, you read so much about all the bad stuff happening in Trenton. There's a lot of good stuff happening here too. And the way you change the narrative is to change the narrative. Everybody wants to be the first person live to talk about shootings. Let's start talking about something else.
Mm-hmm.
Let's engage more with our faith-based communities now that we are slowly opening back up again, to ensure that there is a safe place for our children. I think the greatest loss was weed and seed.
I think so too, but we still have, like, just for me being out in the community and still having a 14-year-old, I'm a parent who, all my children have been involved in various programs. So I look for these type of things and we have them. So, like, and what I see is a lot of parents don't, either they aren't aware that these programs exist, or they just don't have the time. I don't know what the reasoning is, but a lot of the children do not take advantage of the programs that do exist here in the city of Trenton. And to me, those are game changers, because
Yeah.
they help raise your kids in a sense. They help give them that extra stability, that extra guidance, that extra mentorship that's needed, because parents can't, we really can't do it alone, and it does take a village. So I think that these are the things, basic stuff that we've gotten away from that we need to get back to. Like, even I talk about this all the time. So when I was coming up, our community, I came up during like the crack era. So I would wake up to people really addicted to drugs and all of that stuff. But what's crazy about that is they looked out for us, even though they were going through, some hardships in their life. They looked out for us. The neighbors looked out for us. So if a person like myself who was going to school and they saw that I was going to quote unquote be somebody, they wouldn't allow me to be out on the corner. If they saw that I was doing something I shouldn't be doing, yes, even the person that was on drugs would correct me and say, you need to go home or whatever. And we've gotten away from just that simple type of stuff, because people get angry when you say something to their kids, or you chastise, correct their children. And that's village mentality, when each one teach one, help one, that type of thing. And for me, it's just that simple. We have the infrastructure here. I think it can always be better, and we definitely should work towards that. But I think we have some basic infrastructures that are underutilized.
That's incredible. That's incredible, because for the longest I've been saying there are programs available. Do we have everything we need? Absolutely not.
Right.
But do we have a lot of stuff we could use? Yes, we do. The parents, I'm saying, the parents, this is coming from me, can do more to engage their children. There's so much opportunity and hope when parents are involved. It's the lack of parental involvement that creates some of the issues that we're going through. And as you said earlier, I spoke to not harboring guns, drugs, and criminals. And yes, poverty plays a tremendous role. The poverty level in Trenton is high, but the poverty level in Trenton being high is not 100% the responsibility of elected officials. It is not. And folks finding their way, getting their GED, you don't have to go to college. You don't. Any piece of paper that shows you've done something other than breathe makes a difference. Get a trade. Maybe you can't get it right here, but get a trade. I was working with a young kid, because I still do mentoring, and a lot of mentoring. And we're trying to get this kid to go to Job Corps because he has nothing else. He is young, he's a male, he has nothing else. He has family, and the family has attempted to help him, but what the family will not do is feed him when he's capable of feeding himself. And by that I mean going to Job Corps, getting a job. We even offer, in my family, with my family's friends, cousins, nieces, nephews, we offer. If you've been incarcerated and you can't get a job, we will give you the startup. We will start you up with yard work. Build your own business from there. But people have to have the desire and the initiative to want to do some of these things. We can bring reentry back 100%. I bought it here in 1999, I believe it was. 1997, I'm sorry, 98. And they didn't understand it. Nobody understood that as long as the jails keep dumping people back into the community with no hope, no place to stay, no job, no money, just dropping them off, sending them to welfare, go to welfare, do this, that, and the other. And that's not enough. Again,
not enough. But for me, I look at it holistically, and these issues that we see in our community are generational issues. They're residual effects of a community that has been under-resourced. We had our good pockets where money was flowing, and money still flows through this community, but there was a period in time where our community was decimated. And so, for instance, with the crack era, the community was decimated, families apart, children left to fend for themselves. So it was a lot going on during that time, and we were jailed, we were criminalized for those behaviors. Where now, I guess time, maybe a demographic shift, whatever the case may be, we now see and understand that jail is not the answer. But none of that stuff has been addressed. And so trauma gets passed down and it shows up in different ways each generation. So we have never dealt with it. It's never really been acknowledged. And our community is clearly still suffering from the things that happened 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago. So I think we just have to really get to the root cause and start from there. It's possible. Anything is possible. Anybody can come back from anything. I'm a believer in that. People fall down all the time, even myself. I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. But you do have to have that desire. You definitely have to have hope. But when you don't have the hope, it makes life that much more difficult. And people like us who can see, we see the road. Other people don't see it as clearly as we see it. So they need help, but it's possible. But I know why our community looks and behaves the way it do now. And on top of all of that, we're competing with social media, which is a whole nother, because the kids now are exposed to more than we've ever been to. They are experiencing mental health and mental trauma more than we would ever more than we have ever been exposed to, because they have lost a lot of their friends due to death, gun violence, and drugs. I've never seen a generation of children who's lost as many friends. I can't even keep up. Every day
It's amazing.
Yes. And then you have an entire generation of young children who do not have their fathers due to gun violence. So we have stuff to do.
I like that. We have stuff to do. I really like that, because it's just that simple. We have stuff to do. And it begins with us. I'm going to ask every parent out there who hates what's going on in Trenton Public Schools, when the last time you went to your kid's classroom?
They're not letting parents in. And I'm speaking from I'm one of those parents that showed up and checked on my kids. They don't let us in like that, especially since COVID. They don't even let you pass the door. Like, you have to.
So when I say, when's the last time you went to your kids' school, parents, they're not just going to let you walk in. It's a safety issue. I get that. It is to protect the child, but they still have parent-teacher conferences, and even during COVID, by phone. When's the last time?
Yeah.
When's the last time?
Well, my son doesn't go to Trenton Public Schools, but I know that the teachers that I deal with, they're very accessible via phone, text message all day. I can send a text in the morning, whenever, and they respond. They may not respond right away because they're in class or whatever, but they do respond. So you're right. There is other avenues to check up on your kid, and it is a parent's responsibility. But again, we're still dealing with a lot of stuff. Like, you have a lot of single moms out here. They're working 2, 3 jobs. These children are latchkey kids, which a lot of us were too, back in the day. But we had a community of people who looked out for us. Today, where people just kind of mind their business because they don't want any negative impact or any fallout because they said something to somebody's kid. So we're missing that piece, and I just think we have to get back to it. And it really do start. I did this this thing like 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago, where I just decided to. What I noticed was, Black women, we weren't speaking to each other. We just walking by, like I would see. And so I was like, I was just saying good morning. Like, and I just start saying hi. Some people speak, some people don't, but I think it just starts right there. You become more welcoming, more opening, and then it's you the next person wants to do the same thing, and then this is how we kind of change how we operate in our community. We just got to get back to what we used to do.
We got stuff to do.
We got
You
stuff to do.
said it. I like that. I'm telling you, that just resonates with me because it's simple. It's simple enough. And parents who work, you can always buddy up with other parents, buddy up with your family members that you trust. Do some things together. Stop looking for the government to raise your kid. It's not the government's responsibility. And I listen, I'd welcome anybody on here to challenge me in this conversation. It's not the government's responsibility. Their responsibility in terms of education is to ensure that we have an efficient and effective one. And there's a lot of work to do in that area. But you keep voting the same people into office. You keep doing the same thing over, expecting different results. You keep voting for people because you like them. You vote for people because they sound good. You vote for people because they look good.
Mm-hmm. All that. And it hasn't really gotten us anywhere. I like to say from a national, don't even get me started, but I'm gonna say this one piece. We haven't had decent legislation since 1965 on a national level.
Right.
And I just started talking about today, slowly trying to, because I just think you can't give everybody everything because, people may or may not understand what it is you're trying to say. So if you give it in small, kind of teach. So eventually they'll understand what it is you're talking about. And so I'm just trying to get people to hear in the city of Trenton, because you're right. It is not the government's responsibility to raise your children. However, it is their responsibility to make sure that our community is safe, that we have the resources that we need to function as citizens, as residents here in the city of Trenton. That is the government's responsibility. And so our civic duty is to make sure that those policies, practices, and procedures are in alignment with what my family needs where I live. So it's a dual thing that happens.
Absolutely. It's a partnership. It's a partnership. It requires, when you go to other neighborhoods, right? Because you said something key. It is the government's responsibility to ensure that we are safe. But here's what I would bet anybody $1,000. When you go to, we cannot control everything. That's number one. I'm sure about that. We can't control everything. But when you go to neighborhoods where people are willing to sweep in front of their door, pick up the trash, attend parent-teacher conferences, be involved in community groups, which are very, very important, and to not harbor the things that hurt us. See, because here's the deal. There are very few people coming from outside Trenton to hurt people in Trenton. We're hurting each other.
This is true. But we have to also ask ourselves, when you talk about guns and drugs, how are we getting it? We don't manufacture any of that. We don't manufacture the guns. We don't manufacture the drugs.
Nope.
So multifaceted. It's multi-layered. And we all have
but somebody's got to go get those drugs and bring them in here, right? Somebody's got to go get those guns and bring them in here, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has to, listen, if we spent more time trying to help people re-enter society and become gainfully employed, the game would change. The government has a responsibility to that. Since you're locking them up, if they blink before they cross the street, you have a responsibility to ensure that when they get back on the street, they have a fair opportunity. And that's another discussion we can have at another time. That is often very uncomfortable for people. People who look like me don't always have a fair opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always have a fair opportunity. And sometimes, we contribute to that. But before we can even contribute, it's already all the way up here. And so understanding who we are, and what we need is what's going to help turn Trenton around. We cannot, now we have some very, very ineffective folks in office all over the country.
Yes.
Trenton is no exception. And I don't care what anybody says and how they say it. Here's what I want you to know. As a former elected official, I was in no way perfect. I was not perfect. I made tremendous mistakes. I studied to be in there. I went to school for political science with a concentration in law. I got a master's in administration. I looked at a doctorate and walked away because I didn't have the energy or effort at that time. I do now, I didn't then. But the point I'm making is everything wasn't perfect and we made some huge mistakes, but here's the difference. We were able to accomplish some things. Did it cost us in terms of money? Yes. You know what my biggest failure was as an elected official? Hermitage Shopping Center. The biggest mistake I ever made. But go down Pennington Avenue and take a look at the grocery store. It's still there. Take a look at Hill Refrigeration. It's still there. Take a look at the Senior Citizen Building. It's still there. Take a look at some of the work we were able to do and partner with Trenton Housing Authority, to develop some places. It's still there. I don't care if people don't get along. See, as a taxpayer, and let me get something straight. My taxes a year are $45,000 a year. That's right. I earned it and I pay for it. Don't dare tell me it's not my money. It is. Taxes go to support social programs and more. Okay. But I don't want anybody representing me who can't do anything except fight. That ain't cute. I don't care what you think. See, listen, when you start fighting for the people, you put all of your personality aside and do the work to accomplish some things.
Right.
I challenge anybody to meet me here on Monday at 7 because we're coming back for a pop-up on Trenton on Monday at 7. I told you Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, we're going to be popping up at 7. I realized it's 7 o'clock a city council meeting. You can be there or be here or be square. It doesn't matter. However you see fit, we're doing it.
And I'm sure they'll still be going when we're done here.
So they absolutely will be.
Yeah.
But the point is, I want my elected officials to accomplish something. The mayor is responsible for the city. If the council refuses to let a mayor do his job, we're all in a lock. Now, any of these elected officials are welcome to come on here and tell me why we haven't been able to accomplish anything in this city in terms of development, real development. Why? Why are we holding up monies? Because listen, this is the message for everybody out there, and I don't care whether you're a representative in Trenton, Mercer County, or the state of New Jersey. Principles and policy before personalities. Because y'all killing us down there. And we're not getting anything done. And I, for one, would like to see some new members sitting on that city council.
Me too. I do.
Okay. And I don't want to get too much into politics. I just want to tell you that if the council cannot work with the mayor and the mayor can't work with the council, we can't accomplish anything.
But I just look at it really basic. It's really, really basic for me at the end of the day. I'm like, I'm sure I would assume that everyone has had a job, right? A 9 to 5, a 8 to 4, whatever. Because if you've worked in your life, then you've worked with people that you may not have liked or whatever, but you still had to get the job done because you were being paid to get the job done. So whether you like the person or not, there was a goal, you had to meet it, it got done. Same thing. Like, these are your colleagues.
I don't care how you feel about the mayor.
Exactly. We're not best friends. We don't have to be best friends.
Get the job done.
Colleagues. And so they're here to do a job, and it should get done, period. Because the amount of money the tax, some of these people pay in taxes. And they can't even get their basic municipal services.
A lot of that, fairly, has more to do with the structural deficits than anything else. And that's something I'm looking forward to discussing as well.
Let's talk about it.
And not now, but in the future. Council must work with the mayor. They don't always have to agree. They can disagree without being disagreeable. And right, wrong, or indifferent, it is the mayor's job to run this city, not city council. There's been a misunderstanding in our entire community about the role of the mayor and the role of the council. The council's advice and consent and budget. The mayor drafts the budget. The council, has their input on the budget and some of the things they like to see. Listen, they spend so much time fighting, we can't even get that done.
Advocate and legislate. I heard somebody say that and I was like, I love it, because
I love that. So let's look. We got stuff to do.
We got stuff to do.
Advocate and legislate. And this is coming from a parent. Italia is not here as anything other than a parent tonight. And all of you sitting watching and popping in and popping out, you had the same opportunity. You'll have the same opportunity again on Monday and again on the following Sunday, whatever Sunday, Monday, or Tuesday we pop up at What's News with You, you'll have the same opportunity. We have to stop playing games. You're down there playing games with my money. Yeah, the mayor is going to court. He's going to court because, we got things to do. And we have somebody here that says, if we invested in education the way we invested in the jail system, you better say that.
Yeah.
And that's a reality. Jenna Figueroa Kettenberg says personal egos. Yeah. Get it out the way. Get it. You're wasting my time. You haven't. What have you done? What have you done to help us? What have you done to help us? I am a resident in the city of Trenton. I have property in other parts of this area, but I have property in the city of Trenton, and I live in the city of Trenton sometimes, and sometimes I live in other parts of Mercer County, and sometimes I live in Virginia, and sometimes I'm in Maryland. That's my business. I'm a resident of the city of Trenton who pays taxes. I want some things done. I want the fighting to stop. And just because, what do we have, 7 months to an election? I don't care about that. You have 7 months to get it right. Accomplish something besides a lot of fighting and back and forth and cursing each other. Accomplish something.
So I think that just at being a resident and because we have to learn how to go out, just like we both got to vote, because if we keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, we are now insane. So
that's insanity.
We have to do
insanity.
We just have to, and we have to be willing to do that every 4 years, every 2, 4, and 6 years. If your representative is not representing in the way that they should, you got to move on.
And I don't care what level they're on. The county government, the county government is going to be doing a job fair. But we need to partner with the county government to ensure that they do more than that. Trenton is not some secondhand place. All roads lead to Trenton. That dome is on West State Street. The people in Trenton got to wake up, smell the coffee, and drink it like me if you need to. But you got to be sure that you understand what our role is. The fighting is a distraction from their failure to have goals, plans, or ideas. You're absolutely right. Fighting is a distraction. You can fight all day long. It's a waste of time. Listen, I used to work at the Board of Social Services. If I spent my time fighting with some of those folks who wanted to fight with me, I wouldn't have been able to get anything done.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And most of the people who were doing the fighting wouldn't even be working there if that were the case. But my point is, let's get rid of the distractions. Let's work together as a team. I have a personal interest in Trenton succeeding. That's where I got my bones. Those are my stomping grounds. It's where I'm always gonna call home. It's where I'm always gonna come back to. I have a personal interest in
We
its success.
invested. We're invested. That's why we don't leave. Most of us were born and raised here, so we love it. And we all want to see Trenton succeed because just like a young person where we see the potential, we see the potential. Trenton has always had the potential. And yes, it's a partnership, but it really does matter who leads. It does.
It not only does it matter who leads, it matters if they know how to lead.
Well, yeah, that's encompassing of it matters who leads.
Small things.
Yeah.
And somebody here said it. Small things will make a big difference. Just take it a step at a time. The only thing I would encourage is just because somebody sounds good doesn't mean they're going to represent well. Just because, and listen, I don't care who don't like it. I'm retired. I got time for this all day. Next year and the year after, I got time for it. As long as I'm breathing, I have time for it. You got to stop fighting and get some work done for us. You spent 3.5 years fighting, and some of you are going to want to come back and be reelected on that council and run for higher office. No. Mm-mm. Show us that you're capable of doing something other than fighting and cussing people out and intimidating folks and denying residents the right to speak on issues that directly impact us. Show us that. Trust me, you're not holding us hostage anymore. Listen, send the message out there. The hostage situation is over.
That part. That part.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. I got a little worked up there, but I just, it's just, they make me stutter with this madness, these distractions. They want to fight. They want to talk about this. They want to talk. And then, listen, refuse to let the man do his job and then accuse him of not doing anything. How's that work?
Well, we all, what did I say earlier? We got stuff to do.
We got stuff to do is what you said. Don't lose sight of that. I want you to keep saying that. And everybody, listen, we're gonna put a t-shirt. I'm gonna create t-shirt. We got stuff to do. Can I use your words?
Absolutely.
I'm Bruce Boyd, my number one man. T-shirt man. Listen, we got stuff to do. And that's all we're going to talk about. And we're going to sell that shirt, and we're going to make for some type of recreation activity in the city. All right?
All right. Sounds like a plan.
So, I'm going to start the first part of that investment, and all proceeds from the t-shirt are going to go to some type of nonprofit in the city willing to provide an additional activity for kids.
I like that.
We got stuff to do. Stay tuned. Bruce, get ready. We need them in all colors and sizes. And speaking of that, the other thing I want to encourage is, businesses, right? Mm-hmm. See, the businesses also had the opportunity to come on here and have some discussion. They had a chance to come in and get on the live feed. The only thing I ask when folks get on the live feed is that they be respectful and that they understand we're not bashing. We're talking simple, common 1 and 1 is 2. I want the council to stop fighting. I want them to start doing the work they were elected to do. It is not their job to run the city. That belongs to the, this is moving forward. From this day on, I want you all to understand it's the mayor's job to run the city. And even if you disagree with him, sit down, work with him, and come to a compromise so that the business of me, Atalia, Jenna, Jean, and other folks, my kids, my grandkids, my nieces, my nephews, business moves forward. Council's not about the people sitting on the council. It's about the people's work. Do the people's work. We got stuff to do. Look for the t-shirt. We got stuff to do. Come on, Bruce Boyd, come through. We got stuff to do. And for every small business person out there, I want to shout out a few business people while we're on here because we're going to wrap up. I want to shout out Elisa's Catering. Keep doing what you're doing, girl. Small business in the city of Trenton doing big things. Reach out. Sakina Iman. She's on Broad Street. Check her out. Support her. The same way you support other people and walk up in their business, support her. Ulabala is downtown. Support him. Skillet. What is it? The Skillet? Skillet. Yeah. Another business. Small-owned business in the city. Support them. Support Classic Bookstore. Support the Ingram Kingdom Mobile Kitchen. Shout out to Derek and Jasna Ingram. Keep doing what you're doing. Who am I missing? There are others. Come on, help me out, Italia. Small business owners.
We have new people, people with their clothing lines.
Yes. Tina Hamlet. Tina Hamlet. Tina Hamlet. She also has some health and wellness stuff you need to get up on. Tina, I'm 22 pounds down and I'm counting.
Okay.
I'm 22 pounds down and counting.
That's a lot. That's good.
There are health and wellness experts in this city. Divine Allah has a wonderful program over there behind Hellingfold, where he does
workout,
all kinds of stuff that's just good for you. Go get it. Hey, I'm asking you today to remember this. We're going to be popping up on Sundays, Mondays, and Tuesdays. We're going to be talking about how to get legitimate work to become fully self-sufficient. We're going to be talking about reentry, and we're going to bring on the people who know about reentry. We're going to ask Tracy to come on. If he can't make it, we'll get some folks from outside the city to bring the message. But wherever they come from, wherever they can bring the message and help us, that's what we're going to get. We're getting it. And to the small businesses, we just want to say thank you. Please don't give up. Please don't give up and keep going. And the other thing I want you to know, if you're a podcaster, that is typically not the locals who support you. And I am a living witness of that. I have and reached thousands of people through marketing with my podcast. I'm having multiple conversations. We're going to be doing some great things. We're making some tremendous changes. But the thing that I want to highlight, Dejanaba is doing light freestyle podcasting. Check her out.
Right.
Check her out.
Having a networking event on the 27th down at Trenton Social. I think it starts at 6 or 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she's going to have the chance to come on here and talk about that a little bit. See, ain't no shame in my game. I want to see that everybody has an opportunity and has the mic. You have the mic. We are here at What's News with You. I want to thank you guys who came on, the ones who commented. We had quite a few comments here. Thank you for that. I want to ask our legislators, near and far, stop the distractions and do the work of the people. It is principles and policy before personalities. You don't like it? Come on here. We can talk about it. We're not going to fight here. We're not going to argue here. We're not going to bash anybody here. But if you're arguing and fighting, that's what you're doing, and we want you to stop. Natalia, what do you want to say before we go?
I want to say that I believe in the city of Trenton, and I think that we are capable of anything. And although it seems very bleak right now, we do not want to give up hope. There's always room for improvement. And so I'm looking forward to better days.
Absolutely. And the other thing I want to tell you is we're going to do this shirt, and we're going to give the credit. Italia came up with the name. We got stuff to do. And I'd like to ask all of you to support it, because all of the money, I'm just going to finance the launch. All of the money is going to go to a program in the city that will benefit our children. Parents, get involved. Italia,
And
give the parents something.
One more thing. If you have children who want to play basketball, there's a summer league that's out by Father Rocco Pool. I think their first game is May 21st. You can sign your kids up under the guy. His name is Jay White. I forget the name of his league, but he's always out to the basketball field over by Father Rocco Park. And they're doing basketball summer leagues of all ages. So go sign your kids up.
Can we get him on this podcast, Italia? If you could get in touch with him and put him in touch with me, I'd like him to come on the podcast and talk to us a little bit about what he does and how, you know, parents can participate. And if you're out there and you have a program that you want to share, hey, I told you, you and Trenton, baby, you got the mic. Come on, bring the noise. We heard you had something to say. We're here for you to say it. Hey, Italia, thanks for joining me at What's News for You? What's News with You? Have a good evening. We'll be back again. We'll be popping up. We'll announce it. And the link will go up about 10 or 15 minutes before the podcast to ensure that everybody has a fair opportunity to grab one of these 9 other slots that are available. Okay. Again, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We got stuff to do. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Have a good evening. And thanks for joining me. Good night.
Good night.